What's up YouTube, Hero Bomber OTK. If you don't know what this deck does, it essentially utilizes a fusion loop to inflict burn damage to your opponent for a win. There are three different sort of win conditions in the deck though. The main condition of course being the Hero Bomber loop. Plan B is just Fusion Gate beatdown. And Plan C is to hope that you don't have a bunch of monsters in your hand so you can special bubble and make a Blade Armor Ninja and hopefully start poking for 4400. And they pretty much go in that order. The deck is actually really consistent. There will be games for whatever reason that you just can't seem to draw a Fusion Gate, and those are the hardest games. The games that you for some reason find yourself not drawing chain material, you just back up into Fusion Gate until you can get into chain material so that you can start the win condition or the main win condition of the deck. But that being said, I'll go ahead and explain the deck list and my choices for the extra and the side and whatnot, and explain how the combo works if you don't already know. We start off with Stratos because Stratos, of course, is that cornerstone of the hero archetype. He really serves absolutely no purpose in the win condition of the deck. He's there to serve Plan B. If you're just going into Fusion Gate beatdown and you need those materials in your hand, Stratos is there to search for you. You'll notice we don't play Rotos or E-Calls because we don't particularly care to have our monsters in our hand with the way this loop goes off. We play double copies of the original four, Avian, Burstinatrix, Clayman, and Bubbleman. They are for use to make Electrum, which allows the win condition of this deck to be possible. We play 2 copies of Heat and 2 copies of Cyber Valley because we need Pyros and Machines to go into Blaze Phoenix, which is the burn loop portion of the win condition. And finally, double Trag to help stop OTKs, to make Gustav if need be with another copy of itself or an Electrum or whatnot, but pretty much it's just there to help stall any OTK if need be. For Filter, we play double Duality to help us get into Gate and chain material to set up for the next turn. Triple Fusion Gate and double Terraforming helps assure that we have Fusion Gate as quick as possible. We do play 2 copies of Upstart Goblin. I was playing 3, but there's no reason to be playing 3 copies of Upstart Goblin if it's going to put the deck at 41. So with the tweaks that I've been doing to the deck, I wasn't going to play a 41st card when I'm playing 3 copies of Upstart Goblin, so I did cut that back. You might question why there's not a 3rd Terraforming in place, because at least it gets you the specific Fusion Gate. Fusion Gate's easy enough to get with. The harder part is getting to chain material. So the Upstart Goblin is just to dig you 1 card deeper in the deck and help you hit that chain material just in case. 2 copies of Miracle Fusion in case stuff gets thrown to the graveyard if you're having to stall or whatnot. Of course, it's going to put a big fusion on the board anyways, which can be problematic for the opponent. But, you know, you have to play Miracle Fusion, it's heroes. And then we play Heavy Storm and Dark Hole for both sides of field clearing. We don't play Monster Reborn for one simple reason, and that's that we revolve around banishing everything through Fusion Gate and then recycling it back to the deck that way. We'll have next to nothing in our graveyard, if ever. So really, Monster Reborn, 90+% of the time that you would draw it is just sitting in your hand. So that being said, I decided to drop it from the deck. On to the trap lineup: Judgment and double Torrential, triple Chain Material, triple Dark Bribe to protect the chain material, double Dust Tornado is also there to protect the chain material, and finally Starlight Road to protect the whole setup. Now, a couple things. You have to have chain material active on your turn to let the win condition happen. That's why we decided to play triple Bribe. It's going to stop their MSTs, their heavies, those sort of things from hitting that chain material while you're waiting for it to become active for your next turn. Similarly as the Dust Tornadoes in place of MSTs in the deck. If they're going to start blind MSTing things, you let them blow their MST on your Dust Tornado. So you'll chain the Dust Tornado to blow up something of theirs, and then use Dust Tornado's effect to set the chain material after the fact, so it's still ready for your turn, but you get a big plus off of it when your opponent blind MSTs into it. That being said, the way the deck works, if you don't know, Fusion gate, so long as it's active, you can fuse without polymerization or whatnot. And when chain material is active, during that turn, you can fuse from anywhere. When chain material is active, for the duration of that turn, you're allowed to pretty much turn your deck into your hand. Everything in your deck, everything in your graveyard, everything in your hand, all becomes places that you can pull fusion materials from, but you can't conduct your battle phase, and any fusions that are on the field at the end of that turn die. So that being said, you have Fusion Gate, Flip Chain Material, and it's pretty much a good game. They can't Solemn Judgment, they can't Solemn Warning any of the monsters coming off, because they're all resolution of Fusion Gate effects. And of course they can't Warning the activation of the Fusion Gate either. They could Bottomless in the middle, but it doesn't hurt. If they Valor any part of the loop, you just do the loop the next time around to reset everything. If they max C, you deck them out. So long as chain material gets successfully activated, it literally is impossible to lose unless they have like Prime Material Dragon on the field or have flipped Imperial Iron Wall. The hardest thing this deck tends to lose to is Skill Drain and Royal Decree, so you got to keep that in mind. The way the loop works is once you have Chain Material and Fusion Gate active, you're going to banish a copy of Heat and Cyber Valley to go into Blaze Phoenix, which will then burn your opponent for 300 damage times the number of cards that are on the field. Once that effect resolves, you'll go ahead and fuse again into a copy of Shining, using another Cyber Valley and any of your elemental heroes. It really doesn't matter. With the two of them, you will use Fusion Gate to banish your copy of Blaze Phoenix and Shining off the field into a copy of Nova Master. So at this point we have 6 cards removed from the game, and that is Shining, Blaze Phoenix, 2 Cyber Valleys, a Heat, and another hero. At which point you will fuse from wherever yet again 1 copy of each of the original heroes, Avian, Burstinatrix, Clayman, and Bubbleman, Earth, Wind, Fire, and Water, to go into Electrum. When Electrum hits the field, he sends all of your banished cards back to the deck or the extra deck. So everything goes back, so you're reset. Your field at that point is Nova Master and Electrum. From there, you will fuse the 2 of them into another copy of Shining, so that you have an Electrum banished to recycle with your next Electrum summon. You will then go into another copy of Blaze Phoenix with Cyber Valley and Heat to do the burn damage yet again. Fuse off your Blaze Phoenix and your Shining into Nova Master. That way you have a Nova Master, an Electrum, a Shining, a Blaze Phoenix, a Heat, and a Cyber Valley banished. When you go into that last Nova Master, then you will fuse into another Electrum. So of course you'll banish those 4 copies of the original heroes again, and then all of it goes back yet again, and rinse, wash, and repeat. Of course, with Electrum being level 10 as well as Trag, Gustav is an option for shortening the last loop rather than having to loop 2 more times. You could always just go into a Dreadnought and burn for 2k that way. As for the plan B that I mentioned, if you're just going into Fusion Gate beatdown, we have an additional 3 copies of heroes you can use whenever. Typically 0 is the most one that you're going to go into. If you have to go even further, between Stratos, Claymans, and Bubblemans, you can make Blade Armor Ninja. Heliopolis is there. For if whatever reason beyonce me that they're able to stop the chain material burn loop. To my knowledge, it's not possible, but you never know. I've opted to add this. You can go into 2 of your level 8s through chain material, and then exceed them into Heliopolis. That way they don't die from chain material, and you still have a 3000 on the field that can blow stuff up, so that's pretty cool. Finally, it's a copy of Stardust Dragon for the Starlight Road. As for the side deck, we side extra heavy against back row with 3 extra copies of MST. There's a copy of Mind Control, If you feel it's necessary, you can always mind control for either exceed plays. If they're using warriors, it makes blade armor easier. Or you can just steal something of theirs and then use it as fusion gate material to go into a hero. 2 copies of Super Poly for any of the hero matchups. 1 copy of Field Barrier. I actually fell in love with this card playing Madolche, keeping their field spell alive. You don't really care to keep Fusion Gate alive in this build. Usually you just sit on it until Chain Material's live, then you just activate Fusion Gate, flip Chain Material, and win. But if you happen to be playing against like GK or Dark World, you can set in the Field Barrier simply so that they can't activate their field spell, without having to blow a bunch of card effects to get Field Barrier off first and such like that. We cited a double copy of Macrocosmos for anything that we need that, whether it's Mermails or Inzectors, etc., etc. Really hurts those decks, and it absolutely does nothing to us. We cited double copy of Bottomless, just because it's a universal solid card. Same thing goes with D-Prison. And then finally 2 copies of Shadow Imprisoning Mirror for the Inzectors and the Dark Worlds. So that being that, let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.